Hey guys, good evening. If you can hear me, guys can reply me in the chat that you guys can hear me, okay? Cool. All right, let's get started. I waited three minutes. Let me share my screen and let me introduce myself to you guys. Confirm me once you guys can see my screen. Cool. All right. Myself Raghavendra. So I'm a full stack developer, having close to 9 years of experience in the IT industry, and I'm working in one of the Fortune 500 companies as senior manager and also a full stack developer there. So I take various trainings across different platforms like AppGrad, Simplilearn, Great Learning, Edureka, and this is now Newton School I'm starting. So today's agenda will be mainly on, let me put that in place. I have given this particular topic to talk about. All right, so let's discuss about this in detail. All right, topic for today is JavaScript functions. Okay, so I'll be taking you through the Java, what is a function, and I'll also talk you through the JavaScript functions also on a basic level. If you guys want any specific topics, do let me know. I'll be discussing about those topics. The session will be starting from now and we'll be wrapping up around 7:30. All right. First of all, let me create a file, functions.js. Basically, in JavaScript, there are two reference types and other value types are there. And function is also one of the reference type, I can say, because the type of the function is also an object. And this class will be for 1.5 hours starting from now. I'm going for next 1.5 hour. Okay, so let me write a simple example. So function message, if I say console log welcome to the class. All right, if I call this here, we get this message. Why? Because this is a typical function which is declared like this. The syntax goes like this. You have to write a function keyword and the function name, and this would be the parameter space. You have the brackets there, and this here body of the function. Okay. So, and if I want to put the parameters here, let's say I can say message. And also I can take name. In that case, the calling would be just like this. I have to say welcome to the class. John Doe. So I can put this next to each other and I can print them as it is. So this would be the function where we'll pass the parameters like parameter 1, parameter 2, and we get the output here. So this is your function which takes parameters here. Okay, and what all other stuff we have? So we also have something called as this function. Whatever we take, this will have built-in variables. What are those? We'll see that. If I put the same thing, let me open a new tab. If I put it here, so my classes generally will be mostly of practical. I don't believe in the slides and stuff, so I would rather prefer talking about examples and make you understand with examples rather than going over slides. I keep my classes wherever I take. I generally take for MERN, for upgrade. There I always prefer the examples going over. So if you want slides, I can go for that, but this is the best way I feel. So let's say if I put this example, and if I say console.dir, dir is a way to get the information about the function. If I put this show message, look at this particular variable as this is the function. Okay, function is also an object. So type of show message is a function, but if I put dot, I get some values. This means this is also a function. See, if I say call, of course, if it is not an object, how can we get all this function calls here? That means we can invoke the functions like this also. So I say hello. It is first as this parameter. I say hello. Okay, so what else we have there in this particular function? We have this is a call just to indicate that this particular function takes some. This is also an object which will have some value in it. So we have something called as arguments in it. So what arguments are there? How to identify this? I'll show the example for this. So let me go back to the same example. Inside this, what I'm gonna do, I'll write a for loop for this. I say for let each arg of arguments is a built-in variable present for each and every function object. Okay, to symbolize that, I'm writing this example. if I put this here, look, this is your each argument, whatever you passed. So this symbolizes that we have an internal variable called as arguments that is used to actually go over all the arguments what someone is passing to my particular function. So that's again a built-in inside the each function object. Like I already mentioned, function is also an object, right? So again, I repeat, I'll just go to this one, console.dir. If I put here, this is what we have seen, and this is all your information about this particular function. Okay, we have two arguments it takes, and its name is show message, and it got only one scope, that is global scope. So there is something called as closures and other stuff. We will be realizing that as we proceed further. But at this point, understand that this particular function is a normal function, which inside that we have the scope is to be a global scope. Okay, so syntax. All right, syntax for this is function and the function name. It can be add numbers. Okay, this is a syntax for a simple function, and the variables can be, there is no return type for the variables or the data type for the variables. I can say a comma b. This is your syntax for your simple function, and if you want to return a value out of it, I can say return result. Where is this result? I have to write it here. I can say let result is equals to a plus b. Okay, this is your syntax for your simple function. All right, function keyword, function name, parameters. Okay, for that one I'll come to that. This is your result, and if I come to the previous one, like you guys are asking, the arguments one, argument is a variable present for each function object. How can I iterate through that? Let me write for this only. For let each argument, this is a variable name. We can give anything. Of arguments is an array, right? This is an array. So you can say console.log of each argument passed. Each argument. All right. If I call now add numbers 10, 20, this is how we are passed. Okay. If you want to know the difference between, actually parameters and arguments are often used interchangeably. However, they are essentially different. What is that? Parameter, the term parameters and the parameters are used when declaring a function. Okay, so what parameters means? This, you declare a function, right? So then in this case, these two are parameters. Okay, on the other hands, arguments are the values the function receives from each parameter at the time the function is called. Okay, this, the definition time, this is called as parameters. The moment I call with this is called as arguments. For this, arguments are the values the function receives from each parameter at the time function is called, whereas the parameters are used when declaring the function. That's it. That's the difference between these two. Guys, you have to wait. You have to wait for a while, because I'll finish a topic, then I'll take questions. So till that on time, you have to wait for a while. In the meantime, I'll take all the questions, whatever you guys have. This is the question. This is the question. Let me finish this topic, then we can take all the questions. All right. Otherwise, I'll also get confused what you're asking. I'll not be able to cover them. That's why. So that's about simple function, whatever we discussed. So let me copy it and put it here. So I keep all this code in with me every time after the end of session. I'll share all the code in the GitHub so that you can use it for reference in the future. Okay. Any function can return the return types. So here I can say return A plus B. Okay. Specify a return value for a function. You use return statement followed by expression or value, just like this. Okay, so these are the some of the important things about functions. Now let's talk about function hoisting. Before we talk about function hoisting, I want to know one thing about with all of you guys. Whatever I explained till now about the syntax, about the function variables, sorry, arguments, parameters, arguments, variable, return type, are these clear to you? Anyone having any questions in this? No, 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 I'm not talking about closures. When did I discuss about closure? I did not specify anything about closure. Sure. Okay. Let's say I have a function. Say multiply numbers. Okay. Or I can say divide numbers. It takes a comma b as two parameters. Okay. Now the moment I receive these numbers, what is the division rule? The division rule is what? If the denominator, I can write here like this, numerator comma denominator. So what I can say, if denominator is equals to 0, then I can say return, or I can say console.log. What is console.log? Console.log is a statement which is used to print something on the console. Okay, console means this is the one, this is the console. How to go to this? You have to right click and say inspect and you reach here. And whatever the console.log we put here, we get the messages here. So I can say here console.log denominator can't be 0. Okay. Else I say let, or I can say var result is equals to numerator by denominator return. This is the syntax for your return. I'll explain everything. Don't worry. Result. This is your syntax for your result. Look at this. So this is a normal function which takes two parameters or okay. Inside that, first what I'm doing base condition check. If it is true, then I'm performing the operation. Then whatever the result I got, I'm returning the result. All right. So okay. Guys, I'm getting a call from from my office. Give me 5 minutes time. I'll be back. Okay, so this is your simple function. Sorry guys, I got a call from my office. This is your simple function where you actually have all the stuff. Any questions in this? Any questions in this one? Anyone having any doubts in this? Okay, line number 18 is just a base condition check. Means if denominator, see, tell me one thing, if can we do this? It's not possible, right? So what I'm checking here is same function. I'm just verifying, that's all in this case. I'm just, if let's say if I say 12 comma 0, denominator can't be 0. So I'm doing just a check, that's all, saying that this can be divided. All right, if I pass, instead of that, if I pass divide numbers of 15 comma 3, then I get the result. So this is what, it's a condition check. If this is 0, then don't perform anything, end there. So that's what it is. So then we have to do what we have to do here, we have to return from here only. I can say for the sake of safety, I say return -1. So that's how you do. So this is your base condition check, this is your operation, this is your return result. So this is your simple function, whatever exists in JavaScript. Okay, nothing complicated here. A very simple function. Take two parameters, do base condition check, perform operation, return the value. All right. Okay. Any other things you guys have doubts in this? Cool. You have two parameters and I am passing those values here. 15 and 3 are the parameters. This is your argument you're passing. It takes two parameters, numbers and numerator and denominator. See, this is just this example scenario I'm giving. It can be anything. The parameters can be anything. I can say function print message. I can pass message here, but there is not return type or data type for that. I can say console.log message passed message. So if I pass, if I call print message, welcome to the class. Right? That's how it is. You can define, yes, why not? So if I say, let's say for the same thing, I say var name is equals to John Doe, and if I write a function here, say hi, greet user, I say it takes here what I can say name message I can put here. How I can call this here? I can call this from here. So name is from this one, message I can take from here only. All right. Now I can assign this to test. So if the moment I call this, so I have to greet user with a message, right? Welcome to the class. So if I put like this now, then what happens? It will just invoke this print message function, and this internally invokes this function called greet user, and user name is coming from here, and this is the message it is passing us. So this is how it looks like. It's possible. We can define, we can't call this from outside. If you want to call that from outside, right, then that concept we call it as closure. Okay, I don't want to discuss that because some of you mentioned that it's not like up to you. So if you return this to an outside user instead of just calling, and if I assign it is equals to what happened, sorry, I should put return. So if I say check welcome to the class, look, this actually is a closure console.dir, but closure is not taught to you, I know, but if since you asked, I'm explaining this. Look at this, this is your closure. Okay, I don't want to go to closure and all, but it's not taught to you, but this is how the function. You can have a function inside a function also. It's absolutely fine and valid. This is how you can return a function from a function, and you can actually invoke it later point of time by assigning it to a variable. All right, that's about the functions, whatever I have for today. If you have any questions, okay, I have loops also, right? Let's discuss about loops, guys. We have three different types of loops, right? We have for loop, we have while loop, we have do while loop, and we have, that's it, I guess so. Yes, I will take very simple examples now. So let's say I have an array called where fruits is equals to oranges, bananas, mangoes. All right, if I let's say I have fruits like this, guys, you have to wait. Let me finish this today's topic because a lot of questions are asked are out of little context. These are not topics of function, these are little advanced concepts, but I'll come to that if I have time after 7:30. Okay, let's talk about loops now. Let's say for first one is your for loop. What is a for loop? For loop is used to iterate through a array. Okay, how we can do that? We can do like this, where I is equals to 0. This is your initialization condition, we call it as. Okay, then we have kind of like matching, like comparison condition, less than 5, or I can say fruits dot length, then incremental condition. This is your incremental condition. For condition comes with three things: initialization, comparison, increment. Okay, for the step starts with this. This is your step 1, step 2, step 3 is your actual logic inside here. Console.log of, you can have a where RUIT is equals to fruits of I. It will extract fruit from index. Array start from index 0, 1, 2, and 3. All right. So now I say each fruit name is fruit. If I execute like this iterates through all the fruits given in the array. That's how your for loop would look like. Okay. Any questions? Anyone? In the for loop? This is your typical for loop. We have for each loop also in JavaScript, and for off loop also in JavaScript. For off loop also in JavaScript. For arrays, this let me take this example here. I can say if I put here, if I put the same, this is how it looks like. If I call this, you get the output here. Sorry, no 02 loop. This is your each value of root. This is one way of. This is your normal for loop. We have something called as console.log. For each loop. How that can be written? Same syntax for where each fruit of fruits. You can say console.log of each fruit is like this. You can write your for each loop. Look, both are the same, but this is your for each loop in JavaScript used for arrays. This is okay. Let's come to that. Let's come to all your questions in a while, guys. Okay, we have this is about for loop. Then I'll move on to while loop. While loop is just extension to your for loop. Same example, no other difference. I'll take same fruit example only. Maybe I'll take numbers here instead of fruit. Okay, and I say where I is equals to 0, while I less than numbers dot length each fruit is numbers of I plus plus. This is how you write your while loop. It's just an extension of your for loop. Here you initialize the variable first, then you check the condition, then you increment the I at the last of the while loop. Okay, this is your simple while loop. If I have to call this is how your each number. All right, you have these numbers. That's how your number would look like. And next up we have is your okay. Before I go to do while loop, any questions? Okay, any questions, anyone in this while loop? See, for loop is just, okay, for loop takes three things. One is your initialization, condition check, increment. Okay, that's how you do your for loop. And same thing can be done in while loop in a different way. Here also initialization happens outside the while loop. Condition check happens during the while loop. Increment happens inside the while loop. Okay, that's the difference between your for loop and your while loop. It's like different syntax, correct? This is your one more way of running your for loop. This is your for each loop. It's like for each element. There is no index concept here in the for each loop. You will directly get the each fruit directly if you iterate through this. Take this one, print, take this one, print, take this one, print. There is no index concept here. We are iterating directly through the each content in the array. Whereas this one, you're using the index concept to iterate through the array. That is the only difference between each for each and for loop. Syntactically a little different between your while and do while loop. Okay. All right. Any questions in this before I move on? Cool. Last to for in the loops is and the concept for today is your do while loop function. Do while loop. Okay. In this one, basically what happens is we will initialize like this I is equals to 0. Do here I will write var names is equals to all right. Let's say I have these names. Each name is only difference your while and do while loop is Here, at least no matter what the condition fails or not, this will be executed at once bare minimum. Whereas in while loop, your condition will be checked first. Here, the condition check happens at last. That means it will allow the system to execute your code at least once, no matter what. Okay, that is the difference between your while and do while loop. Okay, it has to be greater than 0. I'm really sorry. I less than names. I am not incrementing here. So I forgot these conditions. First, initialization. You do it initialization here. And then you do the condition check. The condition check is done at last. Then you have your increment condition that's happening in the inside. These are the three things, but it happens in a different directions. That's it. That's how your do while loop works. So it's all these three are similar, but the only thing is syntactically they're a little different. For loop is placed in the same line, all the three conditions. While loop is little different. Initialization, condition check, and increment. Do while loop is flip side of it. Initialization, increment, and then condition check. Okay, that is the only difference between these three. It's just syntactical modification, but do while loop is only the difference. Extra difference is no matter if the condition is true or false, it will be executed at least once. Even though, let's say, condition F first line only it fails, even then the loop will execute at least once. So that is the reason we use your do while loop. Okay. Any questions in this one? Without writing code in BS. See, right? Okay. Function, say same thing. I say while loop test. You have to, whenever you enter, right? Press shift enter. That's all. You have to press shift enter. Where numbers is equal to. All right. Whenever you're pressing enter, just press shift enter. That's the only difference. So I say where I is equals to 0, while I less than numbers dot length console dot log numbers of I plus plus. Say while loop test. This is how you write it in the directly in the console. In my sessions, right, I mostly write code in the console here only and show it to you. Okay. But for the sake of saving your code in future, I write here also. Shift plus enter to go to a different line. That's all. All right. So guys, today the topic is not to discuss about the pattern. It's just to discuss about this topic. But if I get time, I'll print it last. I'll take that question at last. Okay. Cool. I have some questions here. All of you have pinged me. This one I've already answered. Again, this is the same thing. I feel no difference. Okay, what is called by value? Okay, well, you mean to say what is called by value and called by reference, right? This is what your question, right? Someone asked me this question. Please confirm if this is the question. Cool. This will, I'll put it in Git, don't worry. I'll put everything in Git, whatever we discussed today. Okay, let me discuss that call by reference and call by value. 03. Call by ref. Cool. Let me write the code here. See, what is call by value? Let's say I say var is equals to 10. Now, if I say var b is equals to a, if I console.log, let me get all these things together at here. Call by value. Var is equals to var b is equals to a. Value of a, value of b. Okay, let me print this before. And now I'm going to modify a to 23. And now I print a comma b. Because I'm modifying a, let's see what happens to this one. So if I say call by value at the end, look what happened here. Only your a got modified, b did not get modified. This is what call by value means. That means you are passing the directly the value present inside this one to the other variable. If you modify the first variable, this will not be affected. That is what your call by value means. Okay. Is that clear? Shall I move on to call by reference? I can say pass by value or pass by reference, both of them. Okay, now let's discuss about call by, I can say pass by reference function. Pass by reference or call by reference, both are one the same. So here, look, I say var array1 is equals to Bangalore, Mysore, Mumbai, Chennai. All right, let's say I have all this stuff. Now what I'm going to do, I say array2 is equals to array1. Now I copy this same stuff, same logic here. I put value of array1, value of array2. Now I'm going to modify this array1. Array1 is equals to array1 dot push. Let me push Kolkata and also Delhi. Now let's look at this, what happens here. So if I say pass by reference, node 03, look, I modified only array1, but what just happened? Let me add a after modification of array A. Look, I modified only array1. It modified both array1 and array2 because we have assigned this array1 to array2. This is called as call by reference. If you see this modification doing in one, will not impact the other one. This in this case, this is called as call by value. Here, what's happening is if I even though I assign the value of A to B, in future if I modify A, it will not have an impact on the B variable. That is what your call by value means. This is simple example to like demonstrate this one. Is that clear? What is call by value and call by reference? Okay, one last time I repeat. If we have simple words only, right? I'm not giving any complex examples here. This is very simple example I'm giving. I have two different variables. I have variable 1, I have variable 2. I assign value for variable 1, and then I am reassigning the variable present in variable A to variable B, and I'm printing it here. Later, what I'm doing, I'm modifying the array only, only the variable A. Then I am printing. This will not have any impact. Okay, if you see, earlier both were 10. I modified only A. B still remained 10. A got modified to 23. Look, here it is 10. Here also it is 10. After modification, only B got modified to 23. B still remained 10. In this case, let's add these 4 values. Okay, in the reference. And here also we had same concept. We have 4 values. Here I have added Kolkata to array A. That means I pushed. And also I've added Delhi to this array. After this modification of only array 1, array 2 also get updated with the same values because they both are having reference. They both are pointing to same reference. Just like this. It's like your array 1 is also you're doing like this. Copy this. So if I have array 1 here, you are making array 2 also point to this one only. Okay, both of them are finally pointed to the same guy. That's what you're doing here by doing this. This will result in this. Okay. If you modify anything, if you modify B or A, both of them will be impacted because both are referring to same memory wherever it's present. Both are getting impacted here. That's what your reference stuff. Okay, I did not speak about closure, so chill. What is IIFE? Okay, is this discussed about? Is IIFE discussed before? Okay, then if I talk about this, it will confuse you guys. Again, you guys should not come and say that this was not discussed. Why are you clarifying here? So I don't want to talk about this. Is it callback discussed before? Callback function is discussed before? Okay, cool. Don't worry. I'll give you a very good example to callback to make you understand about this. So look at this now. Now I'm going to explain callback very neatly. Let me create one function, one file called as 04 callbacks.js. Okay, let me write a simple function called as function add. It takes, let's say, two numbers called a comma b, and it just returns a plus b. That's it. No fancy stuff. Very simple function, right? So if I call add, so let's say where I'll add one more function here. Perform addition. It's a comma b. Now I say where result is equals to add of a comma b. Console.log result is get out this for a while. I'll come to this in a while. So I am now do this addition of 10 comma 20. So if I invoke this here, node 04 result is 30. Okay, here what I'm doing, the simple addition function what I have, it takes two parameters called a and b, and I am performing addition here, assigning it to a variable, then I am printing it here. Okay, any questions in this, anyone in this 5 lines? It's clear, right? No difficulty in this to understand, right? So now if I try to do this, let's say, instead of me performing like this, what if I call this from outside? Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll pass, first of all, why callback is required. In JavaScript, you can pass functions as a variables. That is the first concept you have to understand clearly. To make the functions passing as a variable, then we can use it inside the function as a callbacks. Okay. So going to the very basic extent, give one moment, guys. I'll be back. One moment. Right. If I see here, basically what's happening here is I have a simple function. Now, if I want to make this a plus b coming from, so your callbacks are your first class citizens. Okay. When I say that, I can pass this add function as a variable for other function. So I can say like this, comma, add. What this means, I'm taking this function and passing it to other function. So I say add callback. Okay. Observe carefully. I take the function. I am putting it into a variable. I'll just show a demonstration for this. I say where add callback is equals to like this. You can assume it as. I'm putting like this here. That's all. This is the same stuff we are doing here. This add has been assigned to this callback. Now what I do, I can, with the help of this callback, I can call my add function, right? Because it's basically assigning this one to a variable, right? I can should do like this, right? 10, 20. If I do this, it works. 10, 20. All right, let me comment this for a while. If I run this, okay, I haven't put any result. I can say console.log my result, comma. This calling like this absolutely have no difference. Okay, we are directly calling the function. Otherwise, assigning it a variable and calling the function have no effect in the function invocation, right? Same thing. What I'm going to do, same logic I'll apply here also. I pass this one to the variable for the other function, right? So that's one thing. And then instead of me doing the operation here, I use the callback here. I use the callback here and I pass a comma b. All right. If I do this concept of doing passing the function as a variable, then utilizing it in another function, we call it as a callback function. Is that clear? What happened? Did you guys get the analogy what I'm trying to say here? Are you guys getting the concept here? What I'm trying to say? Cool. Cool. Any other questions you guys have? I have to call the questions given here. I can explain about IIFE also if you guys are okay. Should not complain later saying that IIFE was not taught. I can teach from scratch also fine if you really want. Okay, this I can take it now. Function expression. See, what is function? What is function expression is? Okay, let me create a file here. I say 05. If I say like this, get the code here for that. Function print message. All right, it takes a message. Console.log your message is message. All right, let me invoke this. I say, welcome to the class. This is your normal typical function. It will be whatever we discussed. Welcome to the class. Now look at this. What I'm going to do. I'm going to say where print message and I assign it to anonymous function, and I pretty much everything here. This is your normal function. This is your function expression, and absolutely no difference in invocation. Exactly same. No difference whatsoever. Look, no difference in the invocation also. No difference in the calling the particular stuff also. The only difference is you make it as a variable and then you assign an anonymous function to the variable. By doing like this, we call such functions, such variable as your anonymous function. All right. Hoisting is not at all of a concern here. Hoisting is something totally different. This is something different. Is it necessary? Yes, it is. Function expression syntax is like this only. You have to write like this only to get it as a function expression. Function expression mandatorily takes your anonymous function. For such things only we call it as function expression. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so I'll talk about IAFE now. If there are no questions, means I will not take any logical questions today because it's not for logical questions. But function when we don't have a name, they call it. Yes, where we have name here for this function, there is no name only. This is, see, anonymous function, you definitely can't call it. You have to assign it to a variable first, then you can call that variable. That is why we call it as function expression. You have to assign anonymous function to a variable like this, then you have to call that variable later. Okay, I'll repeat the callback and then I go to IAFE. Okay, basically, forget about callback for a while. Okay, forget about this for a while and understand this analogy, whatever I given it down. Okay, look at this. I'll remove this and then next time one more time. So if I let's say where add variable is equals to add. Is it okay to do this? Okay. Now what's happening here? I'm assigning a function to a variable. Now if I give add variable of 10, 20, or if I say add of 10, 20, there is no absolute difference. Remember that. Look, there is no absolute difference. Same thing for callbacks also. What I am doing here is no. Do not like introduce a new words and all here. Here we had a simple function called as a comma b. Earlier it was like this, a plus b, right? Now what I did for this, instead of calling just like this a addition a comma b, I want this addition to be given by someone else. Let's say for today, okay, I'll say this operation. Okay, takes a comma b, and with the now it's addition. Tomorrow I want to generalize this particular function to the world, other operations also. I'll say callback. Okay, I pass operation, or I can say operate. I pass a comma b, and I pass add as the callback here. I'll put this variable here so that it's kind of linked, understandable. So I pass is add, and add is going as a callback as a variable here. Okay, then I call this callback 10, 20. Cool. Now if I execute this, after commenting out this, A is not defined, a comma b. Here I have to pass 10, 20. Result is 30. Now let's say this like addition, I have one more function called as subtraction, or I can say simple subtract as a function. All right. Now in the next line I can say subtract. Then I can pass some other numbers, 50, 10. It works for subtract also. And let's say after some time I get this multiply, a star b, and I can pass callback as multiply. Look at this, same operate function is working for different way by the help of callback. Now callback made this entire function as generic ones. Okay, that's about callback, guys. I am running out of time, so I'll move to IAFE and I'll stop this today lecture, because today lecture stops at 7:30. I have to wrap up by then. So what is IAFE? Let's talk about that. What is IAFE means? IAFE means immediately invocable function expression. Okay, the syntax goes like this. Typically, what you do, you call the function add. We have seen just like this, right? It's your normal function, right? A plus b. This is your what you have seen. How do we call this? Basically, I'll show it here. If I put like this, what happens? If I say window dot add, it is present. That means whatever function you want to create in the global context will be added to the window object. Okay, if I say var x is equals to 20, if you say window dot x with 20, this is wrong. By doing this, we are bombarding the global context. As a result, the script may use the memory inefficiently. If you have many global variables and the functions, the JavaScript engine will only release the memory allocated for them until when the global object loses the scope. That means you just bombarding your global object. So we should not do this. We should not create like this. Then what can we do? Improvise this. Maybe I can improvise it to a function expression. Let add is equals to, this is one way level of improvisation. Okay, but still I'm not convinced. Yeah, it's already defined. I'll put var here.
Still not convinced. I don't even this will be given added in the global. Now what I do, instead of assigning it to a variable as a function, I will put the result in there. Now what I do, I will put one bracket here, and I pass parameters here. Now if you see console, add is not no more a function, but it is a result of a function. So the syntax for your simple IIF is function, invoke it. Here you write a function. And it is one time called. You can't call it multiple times because it won't sit in the memory. That's all. You can't repeat this again because you can't assign it to a variable and all. And if you see, there is no meaning of window dot because there is, first of all, why it is self-invoking, because we are invoking at the end here with the help of these two parentheses. That is why we call them as self-invoking. Okay, that's about your basic example of IFE. Okay, so I'll write the proper syntax here. Syntax is function, then invoke it then and there only. This is your body of the IFE. All right, I have 4 more minutes to go. Someone is asking so many times the same question again and again. Guys, this is not a logical session, okay? This is a simple JavaScript session, okay? Anyway, let me. Basically, what you can do for this is either you can do it in 2 different ways. Have a temporary variable, okay? Otherwise, you can also have. I have only 3 more minutes. I'll give you the logic. You can write on your own. What is that? You can write it here. Okay, let me give the logic here. 07. Remove duplicates. Next time onwards, do not please force me to write like this, going out of sessions, because I have 3 minutes time. I'm repeating this one. So let's say function remove duplicates. I take array. If I also take the array size here, I do a base check first. If size is equals to 0 or size is equals to 1, then I'll return okay, I'll return n only, that means 1. Okay, I'll just say return this size. It's my base condition check. All right, if it is not, that means my array has duplicates. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to say var temp array is equals to new array where j is equals to 0 for where I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, in this case size here. I will now check if, okay, I have one assumption here. I assume it has arrays sorted. Okay, later you guys can extend it to the unsorted arrays. I am assuming it has arrays already sorted. Is that the question? Okay, so in this case I can check array of I not equal to array of I plus 1. At this point of time, I'll just say temp of j plus plus is equals to array of I. That means I'm just checking both of them are not, is that same or not, is that same or not. So I do this check, then I proceed. Finally, after this basic check, I say temp of j plus plus is equals to array of n minus 1. That's it. You can say return temp itself. So if I say remove duplicates, console.log, result is remove duplicates. I take a duplicate array as an example here. Let me take this array. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Sorry, I use some size. I have to copy it to original array. I'll not do this because I shortage of time I had. So I say for int after all the modification. What I'm going to do for int, sorry, I'm a Java developer also basically. I is equals to 0, I less than j, I plus plus, array of I is equals to temp of j. Let me verify this code. If it is not equal, then I do this. That means I am not considering it. Finally, I modify the original array by putting all the elements back to them. Return, I say, okay. Two. So this is your resultant. Okay. How to verify this? You can verify it later. If you have any questions, we can discuss when we meet next time. All right. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. I think I'm running out of my time. So let me upload this code to the GitHub. I am not sure about the next class. Today was like more of a demo class for me. So let's see. Newton. Cool. JS. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Please do give feedback whenever you get the feedback link. I'll see you next time. All right, and until then, like I'll ping to all everyone. Sorry. So I'll ping you the link here for your GitHub link. Yeah, use it, and I'll see you next time. Until then, bye bye.